What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. Now, today I'm actually repping the golf hat because, the Masters is going on, so I figured why not? If you're interested in the Masters, comment down below. I'm a golf fan, so let me know. But if you're not, totally fine. Not a overly popular sport to watch. But in this video, what I'm going to be talking about, it's kind of the second part in this series where I talk about edge rushers and I basically compare them. And this is all kind of leading up to when I release basically my, edge rusher ranking list and who exactly I'd want to draft. But I'm basically comparing all the edge rushers to each other so that my opinions on each of them compared to one another. And then also just giving you background information on all the players. The last one I did was Gregory Rousseau versus Azeez Ojulari. And I basically was like, I want Azeez Ojulari over Rousseau. So now I'm going to take Azeez Ojulari and I'm going to be comparing him with Kwity Paye and basically explaining my, overall my thoughts on the players. And then I'm going to say who I would rather pick and why. But please, these are my opinions. Comment down below if you disagree with me, and also comment down below what edge rushers you want me to compare next, because this was a comment to compare these two. So, I listen to the comments and I make videos based on, what all of you want to watch. But let's get into it. I'll kind of give a background on Azeez Ojulari. I'll do it a little bit shorter than I did my last one because I've done it before. But basically, Azeez Ojulari, 6'3" out of Georgia, played 2 seasons really. And in those seasons, he significantly improved from one to the next. And he had 9.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 12.5 tackles for loss in his sophomore season. And this was playing in the SEC. So, he's playing with the big boys. He's a very physical, very powerful, good team leader. Bit undersized, but you know what? He plays with a lot of power, plays with a lot of aggression, and he's very, very physical. Basically, he's going to be able to come in and he may have to command a few double teams. He won't be like, Nick Bosa or anything like that coming into the league and getting, a ton of sacks, but he'll definitely make a complete impact on the Ravens defense, and he would be very good. So I like Azeez Ojulari. That's kind of a quick background before I get into Kwity Paye. So Kwity Paye, 6'3", edge rusher out of Michigan. His stats, he played in 4 years, 26 games, accumulated 11.5 sacks, 23.5 tackles for loss, 97 total tackles. And I will say he wasn't starting in all of those games. I believe he started in 19 games. So the stats are, a bit deflated because of that. But, you look at it, he went to Michigan. So there's obviously that kind of instant connection between the Harbaugh brothers. So whether or not that's a good or bad thing, I don't know. The Ravens haven't actually been that great at drafting players out of Michigan in recent years since Harbaugh took over. But you know what? Maybe this one would be the charm, or, third try, fourth try, whatever try it is since Harbaugh got there. They do have that connection. So just based off of that, the Ravens would definitely be intrigued. John Harbaugh would definitely hear from Jim about, maybe more in the details about, how good of a leader is he really? How does he affect to this type of coaching? He could get that insight as well, which, the scouts aren't able to get. But getting more into, his play style and things like that, his strengths are his skills, which may not make any sense, but basically his technique, his body, all that stuff, that's where he's very strong. He's got very twitchy movements, great quickness. He can basically move his body in the exact way that he's trying to do so to get leverage. Very, very good with, all of that type of thing. The issue with Paye is he doesn't have great reactions. Kind of his play recognition isn't anything that you would, want to see in an edge rusher. So that is a bit of a concern. That would definitely be his major weakness. Also his size. He is a bit undersized, but he's still 6'3". He's not 5'1" or whatever going out there playing edge rusher. So he still has decent enough size to play the position. And the biggest bonus that I see is that one, he's only played 19 starts. So maybe the possibility that, if he plays more, he'll get better play recognition. That could be true, might not be true. So we'll see. But the major bonus is I saw, I think it was on NFL.com or whatever, their scouting report. And they said that some people have said that he could have some success on the interior. That is very, very good. You may think, no, he's an edge rusher. Doesn't have to be good on the interior. I'm telling you that is incorrect. An edge rusher that can be very good on the interior is a very, very rare breed. That is not something that very many edge rushers are able to do. Even the top tier edge rushers, Von Miller, Khalil Mack, they don't play on the inside. They're phenomenal edge rushers, but they don't play on the inside. They just can't do it. But they are very good on the outside. But a player that can play on the outside and the inside is a very, very rare breed. And versatility and things like that, it's great in every defense. But when you're playing with Wink Martindale, it's everything. You could have them, line up, over the center. You can have them line up on the opposite side. Like you could line them up anywhere on the defense if that is able to translate to the NFL. And you may think like, okay, yeah, rare breed. What does that mean? Not a lot of guys are able to do it. Well, there's one guy. The most prominent name of a player that can do it is a 3-time defensive player of the year. His name's JJ Watt, and he doesn't get recognition for his ability to play everywhere, but I guarantee you he plays everywhere. JJ Watt can line up on the outside. He can line up on the inside, and he's able to get insane pressure. Less so now that he's significantly older, but prime JJ Watt literally lined up everywhere across the defensive line, which is why they ended up drafting Jadeveon Clowney, was because they were like, we don't want to force JJ Watt to only be an edge rusher. So drafting Clowney allowed JJ Watt to play more on the inside, but still play outside like that. I mean, that's the peak level. That's as good as you can get playing everywhere. Not saying Kwity Paye is going to come into the league and become JJ Watt, but just having the tools to have the potential to become a guy that is able to play everywhere on the defensive line, especially when you have aging defensive linemen like Calais Campbell, like Brandon Williams. Derek Wolfe isn't that old, but the Ravens are going to have some spaces opening up on the defensive line, in a short period of time, in a couple of years. So, and Paye is more developed or whatever, he could start shifting, over to the defensive line. And this is obviously talking about if he were on the Ravens. Other teams, he could do whatever. But like developing him and having a guy that would be able to play everywhere would be absolutely incredible. Now, whether or not that would be able to translate, because it said he could find success. It wasn't something where it was like, oh, in college, this guy could just line up anywhere and he would destroy the offensive line. No, it was that he could develop the ability to play everywhere. And that is invaluable to be able to do that, especially with Wink Martindale and versatility and how often he likes to throw everybody pretty much around on the defense. Everything's a jumble with Wink Martindale. But you look at some other things about Paye. He's the most probably sure thing in the draft at the edge rusher position in terms of what you're going to get with him. I think a lot of the other players at the edge rusher position, they have great strength. Like we look at Azeez Ojulari. Like Azeez Ojulari, very strong, very physical. He does have skill moves, but he only has like a couple of moves that he's able to go to on the outside. He loves that chop move to get past the tackle, but he doesn't really have, doesn't have a spin, doesn't have like some crazy bull rush. Like he only has just a couple of moves that he's able to go to. Whereas Paye, he's got good skill sets, able to do moves. His peak is just an edge rusher, isn't as high as some other players, but he's just the most sure thing. He'd probably come in, and I would expect rookie Paye to probably get 5 or 6 sacks really wherever he goes. I mean, if he went to a team, if he went to the Bears or something like that and was playing opposite Khalil Mack, he would get more sacks than what he would do if he were on the Ravens. But I think he could come in, get probably around 6 sacks, and really start to develop and play well. There aren't any edge rushers that the Ravens would be able to draft in the first round that you would expect to get 10 plus sacks. Could they do it? Yes, possibly. But, the Ravens aren't drafting top 5 where, a lot of times top 5, you can get an edge rusher and you're like, yeah, this guy's going to be an absolute superstar. Whether it's, I think Von Miller was actually taken 6th, but, Clowney or whatever, you're able to get them why did I even bring up Clowney? Clowney was not a superstar. But overall, you'd be able to draft him and you'd be able to expect 6 sacks, like I said, which is probably pretty similar to Azeez Ojulari. It's just that I personally love the potential for him to start playing, all across the defensive line in the coming years. So for me, Paye would be that guy. If he fell to 27, that would be unbelievable. But this is just if the Ravens have traded up or something like that, maybe they're at around 20 and he's available. I think you have to go with Paye. Between these two, I'm still yet to look at a couple of other edge rushers, so I'll talk about them as well. I need to do more research into them, but right now, Paye is the guy that I would want. I'm not disrespecting Azeez Ojulari. I think he'd be an awesome pick as well. But Paye, I just love that potential to be able to play all across the defensive line. I think it'd be absolutely amazing. But comment your opinions down below on what your thoughts are on these two edge rushers, are who you would want to draft, who you want me to compare Paye to next. Because it's a lot of fun doing a lot of research into these guys, or if there's another position group you want me to do, because, there's a lot of positions that the Ravens need to address. I could do tackle, I could do center, heck, I could do corner, I could do linebacker, I could do pretty much any position. Probably won't do quarterback or kicker, but, any other position, I would probably look into it. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. Like the video if you like the video. Comment your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow.